Listen carefully, because what you are about to hear is not motivation, it is not advice, and it is not comfort. It is a reminder of something you once knew but slowly forgot, that the greatest battle you will ever fight is not with another human being, but with the thoughts you allow to live inside your own mind. In Marcus Aurelius, a man who ruled the most powerful empire on earth while quietly ruling himself, warned us of this centuries ago when he said that your life becomes the shape of your thoughts. And yet most people walk through relationships believing their suffering comes from other people, when in reality it comes from the stories they tell themselves about those people. Because negative thinking is not simply having a bad thought. Negative thinking is believing a thought without questioning it. It is assuming meaning where there is none. It is turning silence into rejection, distance into betrayal, and change into abandonment. And this is where relationships begin to rot, not because love disappears, but because the mind becomes poisoned. Because overthinking is not intelligence, it is fear wearing a clever mask, fear of not being enough, fear of being replaced, fear of being left behind. And the Stoics understood this deeply when they taught that a thought arriving in your mind is not under your control, but giving that thought authority absolutely is. And every time you accept a destructive thought as truth, you quietly hand your peace to something outside yourself. And this is why Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that it is not events that disturb us, but our judgments about them. Because when someone does not reply to your message, your suffering does not come from the unanswered message, but from the story you immediately attach to it, the story that says you are unimportant, unwanted, or easily replaced. And yet none of those things are facts. They are interpretations born from attachment and expectation. And expectation is the most dangerous illusion in relationships because it disguises itself as love while secretly demanding control. It says, I love you, but only if you stay the same, only if you meet my needs, only if you never disappoint me. And Stoicism cuts through this illusion with brutal honesty by reminding us that human beings are not possessions, they are temporary companions walking their own paths. And when you forget this, you begin to cling. And clinging creates fear, and fear creates suffering. Because attachment is not love, attachment is dependence, and dependence turns affection into anxiety, which is why the Stoics practiced detachment not as coldness, but as clarity, understanding that you can care deeply without surrendering your inner stability, that you can love fully without losing yourself, because the moment your happiness depends on another person's behavior, you are no longer free. And freedom, according to Marcus Aurelius, is the highest form of power, power over your reactions, your emotions in your inner world. And this is why betrayal hurts so deeply, not because someone changed, but because you believed they would never change. And when that belief collapses, the pain rushes in. Yet Stoicism teaches that people act according to their nature, not according to your hopes, and expecting otherwise is a quiet rebellion against reality itself. And reality always wins, which is why blaming yourself after betrayal is the second wound you never needed, because another person's failure is not evidence of your inadequacy, it is evidence of their character. And wisdom lies in seeing this without bitterness, because bitterness chains you to the very thing that hurt you, while understanding sets you free. And this is where emotional independence is born, not in isolation, but in self-possession, the ability to remain whole regardless of who stays or leaves. And this strength comes from practicing the Stoic discipline of separating fact from interpretation, of asking yourself what actually happened versus what your mind is adding, because most of your suffering lives in the additions, not in reality itself. And when you begin to see this, you stop reacting and start responding. You stop chasing explanations and start choosing dignity. You stop arguing with silence and start listening to your own boundaries. Because boundaries are not punishments, they are protections. They are the quiet lines that say, I value my peace more than I fear your absence. And silence itself becomes a weapon when used with awareness, not as manipulation but as self-respect.
because not every provocation deserves a response, and not every emotion deserves expression. And this is emotional discipline, the inner empire Marcus Aurelius spoke of when he said that true power is mastery over oneself, the ability to feel anger without acting on it, to feel sadness without drowning in it, to feel love without clinging to it. And one of the most powerful Stoic practices is negative visualization, imagining loss not to become cold, but to become prepared, to remember that everything you love is temporary, so that when change comes, it does not shatter you, because what you accept in advance cannot destroy you later. And this acceptance does not kill love, it purifies it. It removes fear from affection and replaces it with gratitude for what is present without demanding permanence. And when something ends, whether a relationship, a phase, or a version of yourself, Stoicism teaches you to let go without hatred, because letting go is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is the refusal to bleed for something that no longer grows. And forgiveness becomes an act of self-preservation rather than reconciliation, a decision to stop carrying poison in your own veins, because holding on to resentment only prolongs the influence of those who hurt you. And Marcus Aurelius warned us never to allow another person's wrongdoing to corrupt your own character, because your character is the only thing that truly belongs to you. And this brings us to the core truth of Stoicism in relationships, that peace is not found by controlling others, but by governing yourself, by waking each morning prepared to encounter selfishness, inconsistency, and indifference without allowing them to dictate who you become, by remembering that your worth is not measured by attention, affection, or validation, but the quality of your inner life. And when you live this way, you stop loving from fear and start loving from strength. You stop saying, "Please don't leave," and start saying, "Stay if you wish." You stop begging for reassurance and start offering presence, because strength in love is quiet. It does not chase, it does not cling, it does not collapse, it stands. And this is the ultimate realization Marcus Aurelius left us with, that no one has the power to harm you unless you grant it, that your suffering begins the moment you surrender your inner authority and ends the moment you reclaim it. So if there is one thing to remember, one thing to carry with you after this moment, let it be this: you were never broken, you were simply thinking against yourself, and now that you see it, you can finally stop, breathe, and live as someone who belongs to themselves first, because the most dangerous person in any room is not the loudest or the strongest, but the one who has mastered their mind.